Did I fail him by not firing him sooner? Hiring well and firing faster?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the 8-Figure Agency Show, where a successful entrepreneur and a soon-to-be successful entrepreneur help you build an 8-figure agency by documenting our successes and our failures.
Yes, sir. Well, it's good to have everybody here today. I'm excited about today's show because literally I got in with Derrik and it was like, hey, just hit record because I got some big, juicy stuff to share. But before we jump into that, we have a new thing that I wanted to test out. And we want to do a draft of our top 5 business books of all time. Now, the only thing we need to decide, Derrik, first before we get started on this is who gets first draft pick. Do you get your first draft pick or do I?
I think I'll give you the first draft pick. You can take it.
Oh, okay. Who do you think's read more business books, me or you?
Definitely you.
Probably me. Okay, so I'm twice as age as you, so I should have read more, but I didn't start reading until much later. So I'll give you the first pick since I've read more books. So that'll give you a little bit of an advantage there to offset my advantage of reading more books. So who are you taking with the number 1 overall business book?
All right, so look, I have left my bookshelf with all of my books at home. So this was very difficult, and I was doing it from memory of the books that stuck out to me the most. My first draft pick, number 1 overall, best book to help in my business of all time. And you might hate me for this, but it's The Compound Effect.
Oh, okay. I haven't read that one before. What is that about?
Okay. It is amazing. It is quite literally what it sounds like. It's all about the power of consistency and the power of the compounding. It's literally just do the basic thing, the hard stuff that's not scalable every day, day in and day out, no matter what, consistently, and you'll get output. I have gotten to the point in my business I'm at now because of consistency. Couldn't recommend that book more. Number 1 draft pick.
All right, that's a pretty solid pick. I like that. I'm definitely going to read that one. All right, my number 1 draft pick, if I'm starting a business today, and the number 1 book that I would want to read is 0 to 1. 0 to 1.
I never heard about that one.
By Peter Thiel. So let me tell you about Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel started a company. You might have heard of him before. And he started a company called PayPal. And guess who he worked with at PayPal? He worked with a guy named Elon Musk. And there was a couple other guys that came from that company. From that, they sold that company. And he was one of the first investors in Facebook. And he also invested in a ton of other companies. There's actually a video online where he took like $30,000 or like something like that and has flipped it into like over $1 billion. He's a genius and he's wicked smart. Sometimes he's hard to listen to because he's so smart. He's one of those kind of guys. But 0 to 1 is how to take nothing, start with nothing and turn it into something. And I think that's super valuable as you start your business.
That's huge. That's a solid pick. I've definitely not read that one. I haven't read enough books to probably give a good take on this. But I mean, draft pick number 2, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of bad things about this. A lot of people think it's a scam, but this has helped me get to where I am. It's got to be Think and Grow Rich. That's my number 2. It's got to be number 2.
Think and Grow Rich?
Yeah.
Why is that number 2? What is that?
The mindset that it taught me that everything starts in the head above everything else was the biggest takeaway I had from that book, and that my emotions and my reactions to things are more important because they control everything else. Changed my life, like completely. It's what allowed me to take what I learned in Compound Effect and actually tactically use it.
Awesome. Okay. So my second book is going to go to, and these are not I'm not putting these in order of what's impacted me the most. I'm putting them in order of which ones I would read first, right? And so my next pick is going to be the 5 dysfunctions of a team.
I never read that one either. I'm gonna have to.
Oh, this one's amazing. You have to read this book to build a team. Like 100%, hands down, have to read it. So what it does is if you Google search 5 dysfunction of the team, Kyle, you can pop it up here on the screen maybe. It has a little triangle, and on the bottom, it starts with healthy conflict. And that's, you have to have conflict as a team, but to have healthy conflict, you have to have trust with one another. And it goes into how to build that conflict, how to build that trust, and how to then build other things on top of that to really have a relationship with one another is really what it boils down to, so that we can disagree. So when Derrik comes to me and tells me that my idea stinks and that it's the wrong idea and we need to go in a different direction, I don't just clam up and then become a big nothing in the team, where your team can actually have ideas, competing ideas, they can butt heads a little bit, and then you build on top of that to actually equal results. So that's going to be huge for me.
Hey, I'm gonna pull out my credit card and go on a shopping spree after this, I think. Well, listen, draft pick number 3 for me, gotta be Richest Man in Babylon. Not sure if you read that one.
That's a really good
Yeah,
book.
that's for me.
That's a really good
number
book.
3. Yep.
Yeah, so Richest Man in Babylon, correct me if I'm wrong, basically goes over to how to pay yourself first, how to make sure that you have money coming into you and you're not just dumping it all back in the business. Is that right, basically, in a nutshell?
Yeah, it's such a creative way, though, because they do it in a story style. So it's like profit first, though I've never read it. From my understanding, it's like profit first, but in a narrative story. And it's super quick and short and of an easy read. It's 5 lessons. The biggest takeaway by far is pay yourself first, always. Fantastic book.
That's awesome. Okay, my third overall pick. Oh, this is hard, man, because I listed 10 books because I thought maybe you might take some of mine. So I would say next is going to be Leadership and Self-Deception.
Never heard of that one.
That's my third overall pick. My third overall pick is Leadership and Self-Deception. Basically what this book is about, Derrik, is it breaks down how we put people in boxes. So it actually uses personal life. And let me just say this disclaimer. This book will radically transform how you view all of your relationships in your life, not just your business relationships. And so what it does is it breaks down how we put people in boxes and we have this perceived notion of who they are and we put them in those boxes and then we begin to treat them differently because of that. And then they begin to actually behave the way that we're treating them. Imagine that. And that we can put our teams in these boxes and trap them there. And it doesn't ever end well. It doesn't end well for us and it doesn't end well for them.
Well, that's crazy. That's like some next level stuff right there. I mean, it actually leads into my 4th pick. My 4th pick's got to be How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah, that's number 4 for me. It's a great book.
Okay, that's a good book. If you haven't read that book, you got to read it. That one's really good. Okay, next for me is going to be E-Myth Revisited.
No, I haven't read any of these. I'm gonna go on a shopping spree after this for sure. I haven't read any of these.
You have to read E-Myth Revisited. It is the most straightforward why businesses struggle and why it starts with the baker. So the baker is the technician. So for you, Derrik, it would be that would be the video editor, right? So you learn how to edit videos really at a really high level, and that's how you got clients. And then the baker did the same thing. They learned how to bake pies that were really good. So what's the natural thing when we learn how to bake pies really good? We go, we should open our own bakery because I'm so good at baking pies. And for you, I'm so good at editing videos. I should open a business and I have team members. And then what ends up happening to the baker is they have to learn how to deal with HR and collections and customer service and leading a team and people quitting and people not coming back and the Tupperwares on the pies not working properly and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what the baker comes to realize is that it's a separate skill to run a company than it is for baking pies. And as an entrepreneur, we look at that and go, duh. Like it's so obvious, but we don't realize that we're actually doing the same thing, that we are experts and then we have to learn how to be managers. And there's this whole other world that we have to really relearn. And it's a new skill set that we have to learn to the same level that we learned the first skill of being a baker.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, I really haven't read any of these. I can't even believe it. I haven't read a single one of those. I've heard of all of them. I haven't read them. I gotta buy them. Okay, listen, my 5th draft pick. All right, this was difficult for me, but it's got to be Your 5 Next Best Moves by Patrick Bet-David. Yep. I don't know if you read that, but it's a great book. Great book.
Good book. Okay, so this is really hard because you didn't pick any on my list. So I was like, okay, he's going to take some of these. So now I'm left with a bunch. So I'm going to probably go Who Not How with my 5th overall pick. And I would say then my next ones after that, though, High Output Management, Amp It Up, and Checklist Manifesto. Those are going to be like just really close 5th picks for me.
Yeah, I think, Gary, if we can, please send me this list, and we're going to pop it up on screen right here so everybody can buy all those books, because me, for one, I'm Jack. I'm putting it all on the card right now after this call. But, yeah, I hope you guys like that segment. Trying something
Wait.
new.
Who's your 5th pick? You got to pick, or did you?
I gave my 5th.
Okay,
I gave my 5th.
Okay, so now I want to know who won. Like, I'm sitting here looking at this list. Who had the better draft? Obviously, I think I did, but I'm curious to what our audience thinks. Who had the better pick?
I think I'm going to have to go ahead and give you the win, Gary. I think my books were a little weaker than yours, and you have a lot more experience than me. I think we got to vote for Gary on this one, guys. But drop a comment. Let us know.
Yeah, I would love to hear people's feedback on and what books did we miss? Is there if you were picking a top 5 list, what books did we actually miss from this list? So we're going to be doing these at the beginning of every show, and I'm really excited to be adding these in. So let's jump into the show today. What do we got on the plate that's juicy that you said, man, we just got to press record?
So I've got to get clean on a couple things, get clean on a couple things. It's been a rough last 7 days, like really rough on the business side of things in terms of a million things happening. Every time we take one step forward, I feel like we take 3 steps back. So it's been pretty tough to get through things. Every time we get new clients, we lose a client or two. And every time we step forward in terms of operations, it feels like we go a step back. How has this been for me? How am I dealing with it? And what can you expect as someone listening to this in terms of how this might be affecting your business? Well, Gary, right? What I'm going through kind of right now is twofold. And I've kind of mentioned it, right? But sales side, and it's been going on for a while now, right? Not being able to grow as fast as I want to grow to support the team that I want to build in the fastest timeline, right? So I've been restructuring kind of my offer and going on there, but I haven't been getting much traction with that. While at the same time, not being able to close other deals with the offer we currently have. So we're kind of stuck in the middle of like a rock and a hard place, basically. Clients that I actually didn't think would leave us, right? It was like that. They had somebody from their show, a fan, reach out to them, and they wanted to try something different. So they went in with them for a few months, and they said they might be back, they might not. We'll see. I don't know.
So here's what I'd be curious. The fan that reached out, what did they say to them that got them to say, yeah, I'll give it a try? That's what you got to figure out.
Yeah, I wish I knew because I asked them, and I kind of alluded to that. I guess I didn't ask them straight enough, and they literally just said, "Hey, he's just a fan, and we want to give him a shot." We're fans too, and we tried to. They knew that, so it's really I don't know. I mean, at this
here's how you ask that question. Here's how you ask that tough question because it is tricky sometimes. I've been on calls where I wish I would have asked these questions, but I didn't know how to frame it. So this is next time you're on a call, and the client says, "Hey, I got tough news for you. We got to let you go. We got to go to with this fan." They reached out. They said that they could do some amazing things, and we want to give them a try. And so what you have to do is you have to say, hey, you know what? I totally get that because we're fans too. That's how we got your business. And now you want to go give somebody else a try. Totally understand. I'm sure you understand this. I am an entrepreneur. And all I want to do is get better every single day. And I don't just work with you. I work with lots of other people. So help me understand what they offered to you that just made this a no-brainer that you had to move. And when you present it that way, not that you're trying to win back the business, but you just want to know. Because they might just say this, Derrik. Honestly, one of our friends just reached out and said they would do it for free. And if that's the case, it's like, okay, cool. And unless they're killers, you're probably going to get that business back. But if they come back and they say, you know what, Derrik, they looked over everything. They said our view rate is really good, but it could be 30% better if you just added these 4 things. Now you know how to actually go sell in the future to other people, and you know how to package things. So that information is really invaluable.
All right, that's checkmark number 1 of things that I was stressing over that now I can fix with 1 second of Gary's advice. So thank you very much. I'm going to go do that on my monthly meeting with them before we part ways. And listen, who knows? Maybe I'll get lucky and I'll win back their business just from asking them this question and the way you positioned it. That's number 1, right? I mean, the second part of it was operationally. So I have had a team member on my team who I've been working with since like May. Since the very beginning, it was one of those situations where they were getting the job done, but it was never at a level where I knew we could work together for a year plus, right? Maybe 6 months, right? Something like that. Were they a culture fit? Yes. Were they an operational fit in terms of their ability to get stuff done? Sometimes, right? It was that type of thing. Things started off rocky. We went in and we continued to give it a shot, continued to work through problems and successes, and it was really an up and down until yesterday. It all kind of came together, and we said, listen, it was kind of a mix of me saying, listen, we can't work together anymore, and me kind of honestly, in all truth, being a little bit afraid to do that. I don't know why, but I've been very hesitant to fire people. I can't keep playing this game of tug of war, of back and forth, of you saying, hey, I don't think we're a good fit, and then me trying to stay on the team and vice versa, right? What are your thoughts around that? Did I fail him by not firing him sooner? Hiring well and firing faster?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So you thought in your head, this is my guess, getting in your head and let me just be fully transparent. I've only done this like 400 million times with what I'm about to exactly describe. So in your head, you see somebody struggling and they're not a good culture fit. They're not able to produce. And instead of having that hard conversations, you said, hey, I want to give this person a try. I want to give them an opportunity, right? And you didn't put them on a PIP plan. You didn't put them on a correction plan that had clear outcomes at the end of that plan. You kind of left it open-ended. and you had that compassion, or at least you viewed it as compassion. But what you actually did is you wasted their time and you wasted your time. And instead of letting them get out there into the job market when the job market was probably a little bit hotter and now it's a little cooler, now it's going to be harder for them to find a job, harder for you to get somebody to fill that spot. And you stole that opportunity from them. And I'm using that verbiage on purpose because that's how you position it in the future. So when this next person, which you're going to have somebody, they're going to struggle and they're going to not perform well. And you need to give them all the resources. So first you need to go to them and say, hey, are we giving you everything that you need? Did you have the clear training? Do you have the support that you need? If the answer is yes at that point, you put them on a performance plan, right? A PIP plan. And you say, this is what we want to fix. Here's where you're struggling. Here's the outcomes that we expect from this. And here's the outcome. Hey, if it doesn't work, here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be making changes based on this. And that's what it's going to look like if you can't do this, because we don't want to hold you back from being great. So you either turn into the team member that we think you can be or not. And this is what happens from that. And when you do that, it would have saved everybody a ton of time. And I just think it's really hard to do that, Derek. I'll just be honest with you. Most people cannot do that. And when you get really good at that, then what happens is you are now setting that person up for success, because even though they're amazing people and they're good at what they do, but it's just not a good fit for you. And you're holding them back from going and finding their greatest self, because it's not going to happen with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, in this particular situation, I didn't necessarily put them on an outlined. I think this is where I really failed them. I didn't put them on a very clear pit plan. I actually put them on a plan like this twice, right? I did it twice, and I had a very long conversation, an hour each conversation plus, of outlining where we're going wrong and what we need to do to fix it and what the solved outcome looks like for success. Didn't make it both times, right? So I think really where I failed him even more was this last time, not being able to pull the trigger in terms of just saying, listen, it's not a good fit. That's where I think I failed him even more so, because I gave him the training, I gave him the performance improvement plan, I gave him a team, I gave him the systems.
I'm going to help you how to be compassionate at the end of the PIP plan when they fail. So at the beginning of the PIP plan, so the performance correction plan, right? Or CAP, some people call it CAP, correction action plan, or whatever you want to call it. At the beginning, you're going to tell them, this is the outcome that we're expecting from it, but also it may not work out, and that's okay. We're going to make it work for you either way, okay? So then you get to the end of it, and you can clearly see that they're not performing. At that point, you need to start trying to find somebody to fill that spot. You go to them, you say, look, I'm just going to call him Steve. Look, Steve, this is really hard for me to do because I think you're awesome, and I think you could perform really, really well for somebody, but it's not working here with us right now. So here's what I want to do. Number one, I want to give you a reference letter because I really believe in you, right? This is obviously if they're not like, this is not somebody who's, has character issues and all those kind of things. This is somebody who wasn't a good fit. I want to give you a reference letter. I actually have a couple of people that I think you'd do great for. If you want me to, if you give me permission, I'm going to connect you with them. I'm also going to give you a couple weeks severance. Like I'm going to give you a couple weeks. So that way you have a couple weeks to find somebody. You're going to get our last check from us today. And then you're going to get 2 weeks out from there, help you find somewhere so you land on your feet. And I want to help you out. You can put me as a reference. I want to help you land on your feet because I really believe in you, but it didn't work here. It's not your fault and not our fault. It's just, we're looking for a certain thing and it just doesn't fit here. I think if you had that tool bag to be able to help them, it would help you had made that decision a lot sooner.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I'm it's funny, right, guys? I am part of this show, but oftentimes I'm not ever able to actually digest what Gary's telling me until I rewatch the episodes another time, and then I actually get it. Or sometimes my team will send me nuggets like, hey, man, did you pick up on this? Like Kyle will do that all the time, and he'll send me that stuff, and I'll be like, dude, I forgot about this. Thank you so much. That helped me so much because now, I learned my lesson the hard way, and I think I failed them, which hurts me even more. And now I'm paying the price because now we're behind on work. We're operationally tapped out. And on top of everything, I'm reevaluating my current team structure. I think I'm going to have to do this more, where I'm going to have to pull the trigger on a couple of other people and hire some new people, some fresh talent. And B, I'm realizing that I didn't give it my all in terms of truly, truly dedicating the time it took to put the right people in the right positions. So not only was I failing them I was failing the team as a whole, and possibly even client results were suffering because of it across the board, which might have actually cultivated and into losing a couple of clients this month right at the same time. So because of that, now I'm reworking the entire team and moving around who's working on what, the hours, who's making what money, and like all of that stuff. So I'm working through all of those challenges in addition to the sales. I think I know what you're going to tell me, Gary. You're probably going to tell me what we what we discussed last episode, which is not out yet. Well, when you're listening to this, it is out, but execution versus strategy, right? Right now, I'm more so on the strategy side, but I got to get focused on one thing. Am I solving for sales? Am I solving operations? Like, what am I working on?
Yeah, that's definitely what you have to solve for. It might be churn, right? Like if you're churning and you feel like that's a black hole, and then go solve that, and then go back to sales and solve that.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. I think I'm very grateful. It's not churn right now. I think it's a very natural progression. I haven't had churn in a while. These clients, one of them I kind of expected to leave. The other one was a shock, but it's natural. We had enough new business to make it make sense either way. I think really right now I have to, fix operations, and I can do that quickly. I actually had an epiphany before this call on that, which I'm going to put into action after this. And then after operations, it's focusing on sales. What can I do to strengthen my offer and close more deals?
Yeah, the other thing I'd recommend here too, Derek, because this person quit, here's the other little nuance that I think most people miss. It's one thing to let somebody go. It's another thing for them to quit. So when they quit, it causes all of your team to question, like, am I in the right place? Even though it may be the right place, right? It's just it's like being broken up with or being the one breaking up with somebody, right? One might be easier to deal with and one might be harder to deal with, but there's also the perception of that. Was I dumped or was I the one doing the dumping? And when you let somebody go and you say, hey, we're going to put, you tell your team like, hey, Steve just wasn't a culture fit. We took care of Steve. Steve's going to be great. I'm even going to give Steve references. I just don't think he was a good fit for us. Maybe he'll do great things somewhere else. That sends a really strong message to the team. So what I would actually do in this case, I wouldn't normally recommend this, but in this particular case, I would actually go back to the team and say, hey guys, I'm sorry I failed you. I should have done X, Y, and Z, but I didn't. And now it's put us behind the 8 ball, and that's on me. And here's what I'm going to do to correct that. And here's how I'm going to not allow those things to happen again.
I love that. I did a version of that this morning when I let the team know about this, because obviously they realized. Some people even reached out to me. I kind of did a smaller version of this, but I like the way you expanded upon that. I think, that helped me tremendously. I guess, Gary, how can we kind of turn this more into some extra value for the listeners? I always promise to keep it transparent. That's the update on kind of where I'm at with my company. How can we flip this into?
I would just say this, is that having these transparent, like for you to be at the age you're at, to have these transparent conversations that your team's going to listen to later, that is the most powerful thing in the world. And here's why. Initially, what I used to think, I used to try to hide all this stuff. So I would try to like sweep everything under the rug, reframe it. No, everything's good. And I thought that's what you had to do in business. Like that was my perception, is that I always have to be the biggest, best, and have everything put together, and always had to put forward this like we're bigger than we really are feeling. That was like extremely toxic, right? Like it created so many problems. And what I have gotten really good at is just being transparent. I actually posted online yesterday, had a new client come on. He came and he said, hey, Gary, I'm signing with you. I was referred to you. But at the same time of being referred, they warned me that you guys have been growing really fast and that there's been growing pains. And sometimes you don't get back to people and get things done in the allotted time, And I was like, hey, thank you so much for this. This actually really helps me. When people give me feedback, one thing you can count on from me is that I'm going to actually do something about it. And we're not perfect. We don't do everything right. We're business owners just like you are. And you've let your customers down. We've let our customers down. But what I can promise you is that we're always going to work to make it better. And then I took that conversation and I posted it online. I didn't put his name with it because I didn't know if he wanted me to or not. But I posted it online and I said, guys, I'm super happy about where we're at on social media, right? So this is for the world to see. I'm super happy where we're at, but I'm not satisfied. We've grown 4 million% in this area over the last year. Like we're way better than we were a year ago, but we still have a lot of work to do. That sent a message to my team. Like Gary's not playing. Like he's out here on Facebook and LinkedIn talking about this, but it also sent a message to any potential clients or anybody referring us that Gary's just going to keep pushing and making it better, and he's going to be transparent about it. So, you know when somebody's being transparent like this, Derek, that they're actually giving their all. Because why else? I mean, you just have to be a complete psychopath to talk about this stuff publicly and then do nothing about it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I gotta stop letting this happen. But you'll leave me speechless so many times. I don't even know where to go with that because that's so true. I saw that post, right, and my reaction to it was like, first off, a series of events. I can't believe you posted that. It was like my first gut reaction, right? Then I re-looked at it. I said, why am I acting like that? I read it again. I said, wait, this is brilliant. Because I read your caption and I had the same reaction you just explained. I was like, he's being so open and transparent. And the client actually still signed with you. The client was, open enough to share that with you. And now you have something that you can actually go and tackle, right? Focus on, execute on to fix. And now you'll fix it. You move on to something else. And it's huge. That kind of feedback is so valuable.
Yeah, most people won't do that. Here's where I learned this lesson to publicly deal with. And again, you shouldn't publicly deal with every situation, but I had somebody leave me the most scathing Glassdoor review, and after they quit, and they literally were like, Gary ruined my life. He's a sociopath. Like they said the most horrible things about me, like really bad, so bad that I didn't let HR deal with it. I actually said, no, I'm dealing with this one, guys. I'll keep you in the loop. What I'm going to do, and normally I let them deal with it, there's legal reasons why, right, and all that kind of stuff, because you can't. There's certain things you can and can't say, but they were so scathing towards me that I literally just went in and responded, and then I reposted it on all of my social media, and I said, "Hey guys, have you ever let somebody down before?" And posted this, the worst things that someone could say about you as a human being, and I reposted it on social media, and I just said, "Guys, I got work to do. I'm sure I failed this person." In some way or another, and I'm committed to get better. I had so many people reach out to me and were like, I had somebody do that to me, and I know you're trying to get better. I love this transparency. I love this communication. That's what people crave. That's why TikTok has blown up, because it's behind the scenes. Everything's behind the scenes. Let me show you how we really make pizzas in the back of our shop, or let me show you how Amazon really works on the back end. I'm going to set up my phone right here and just record a live all the time, right? That's what TikTok is, and that's what people crave. People want that.
Yeah, people want transparency. It's huge. We do that a lot with our clients as well. Oftentimes, it's funny. I've had so many situations where we'll make clips that are kind of revealing. So it's funny. It's like a long form podcast. My team will go in and clip it. They'll say, we don't want this clipped. We'll be like, what do you mean? It's a really hot clip. They'll say, well, we don't want that to be clipped because it shows us in a way we don't want to be shown, but specifically where we're too transparent about something. We always have to ask them the question, but guys, it's in the long form episode and it's a great clip.
Yeah, why'd you post it?
Yeah, why did you post it, right? And oftentimes we kind of get silent answers back and we just say, listen, for the sake of you guys, we'll make another clip, but we recommend this is the clip to roll with, and we're just getting that on record, right? That's happened so many times. Why do you think people do that? Why do you think that they do stuff like that?
I've never done that, Derek. Whatever you guys pull, I'm just run with it. You guys post it.
No, not even that. Why do people do long form episodes and then they don't think that, people are seeing that anyways?
Yeah, I don't understand that. For me, I do understand it actually. So again, I'm going back to my. So if you fake it till you make it, Derek, you have to lie, right? So instead of being like, hey, I'm not the best at this, but I'm great at this. Here's where I struggle. Here's where I'm really strong. Then you go, no, I'm good at everything. I'm good at all this stuff. But then now you're lying, right? You're not telling the truth. And what happens when you tell a lie? You have to tell another lie. And then you have to tell another lie. And then eventually it catches up with you, right? We've all been there. We've all gone through that. Every human being on the planet Earth has gone through that before. And then you go, stink. I'm sorry. I've been kind of faking it. You know what I mean? I've been kind of lying. We don't like saying the lying word. We'll say, oh, I wasn't being fully transparent there, right? Well, when you do that, it's really hard to know your story. If you can just shoot straight with people, you can show up to podcasts like we're doing right now, and you can just tell the story. This is what happened, and it stinks, and I wasn't good at this, and I failed them, and I got to get better here, and I'm going to work on this. That's just being transparent, and that's what resonates with people.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to be honest and transparent than it is to make stuff up. I mean, I think it's so much better because you keep your story straight. You can never get caught in a lie, and you can never be caught saying something different than what you said before. It's your story. It's your story. It's authentically you. So just be transparent about it. I love it.
100%. I think that's the secret to creating content and being able to actually communicate. That's the other thing I think why people don't really show up well on podcast. I've hosted a lot of podcasts, and I'm like, man, this person is just not engaging, or they're not They're not there for me to be able to suck from the, get anything good from. And a lot of times it's just because, and I was this way early on too, was they're not being real. So they're being someone else. And that's hard to show up on camera. Like people can tell that you're not really being who you normally are.
Yep. No, that's huge. I mean, look, I don't even know how we got here in this episode, starting with the draft picks to here. I just hope it was valuable for those listening. It was really just one of those catch-up episodes, transparent episodes, and I think it was a good one. I think it was a great conversation.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to the next one, and thanks for everybody tuning in. Make sure you go leave a review. Make sure you check out our shorts. Make sure that you do all that good stuff, and we would love for you to give us a thumbs up on whatever you're listening to.
Yeah, and for sure, guys, please, like Gary said, ditto, check us out on all the platforms. And please, I've been saying this for many weeks, right? And the only people that are doing this are in the mastermind from Agency Growth Engine, which is always linked in the description. If you guys have questions or anything you guys want us to cover on the show, we're always open and willing to cover it. So please ask us. Leave us DMs on Instagram. DM me, DM Gary, DM at 8-Figure Agency Show on Instagram. Get in contact with us somehow, somewhere. Go to our personal TikToks and leave us comments. We will see it, and we will make episodes about it, or at least cover it. We want to help you guys and help you guys grow and provide value in any way we can. And with that said, guys, we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace out, y'all.